Hello, gorgeous friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Jen, your transformational life coach, and I'm here to help women live their best and most authentic lives. So if you are looking for a bit of change, you've come to the right place. Now, today we are going to be talking about limiting beliefs and personal values. We are going to be looking at how to identify what your limiting beliefs or personal values are, how to best align with them, ways to overcome the limiting beliefs and shift our mindsets. And also, the number one thing is how to identify what limiting beliefs you might be having or dealing with right now in your own personal mind space. So, we're going to go ahead and start out with understanding what a limiting belief is. Now, some of you may already know what this is, but for anybody who doesn't know what this term means or has never really heard of this before, I'm going to read it for you. If you were to Google what is a limiting belief, the reply that would come back is a limiting belief is a thought or a state of mind that you think is an absolute truth and stops you from doing certain things. Often, these limiting beliefs or these thoughts and feelings come from an outer source or experience in earlier life. So, it's something that could be as simple as if you were, let's say, I will use one of my own personal life examples. When I was in middle school, I had a learning disability and I did not know how to spell. I would use the wrong spelling often and or just wouldn't be able to spell it all. So one day in class, we had to trade papers to get them graded by our neighbor. And my neighbor made fun of me because I used peace as in piece of pie instead of a time of peace. And from that moment on, I created the limiting belief for myself that I was not very smart, that I wasn't good at schoolwork, and actually stopped doing my homework in that class and almost failed. Luckily, they gave me extra credit and we're doing fine. We made it through, but that's how you can see how limiting beliefs can affect you from earlier on in life. So now that you've seen that example, you may be wondering what are some other forms of limiting beliefs. So for me in that example, it was I'm not smart enough. Everyone thinks I'm dumb. That was a big one. I just shouldn't try anymore. Those were 3 limiting beliefs that I had that followed me for a little while, for a significant amount of time in my younger days. But even now, as I've grown out of that learning disability and have made it through college and have graduated and done all of those things, some of the limiting beliefs that I have run into are closer to, well, I don't have anything to say, so I'm just not going to speak up. I don't have that degree from that school, so I'm not going to apply for this position because I don't think I'm qualified. These are some things that I have run into. Other forms of limiting beliefs can be I'm not pretty enough, I'm not thin enough, I don't have the qualifications, they're better at it, so why should I try? Someone else can do it better and say it better, so I will just leave it to them, and on and on and on. So these are some different forms of limiting beliefs that you may run into in your every single day. If you see me like looking down or leaning forward, it's because I have my notes on my iPad, which keeps turning off. So the main reason why you want to look into these limiting beliefs that you might have is because they oftentimes will stop you from even giving the effort to try and move yourself forward towards the goal that you want to achieve. It's also sometimes considered self-sabotage because you think, oh, I'll give it a try, but you don't give it the full effort because there's still a part of you that thinks that it's not going to happen or it's not real. So that's why you want to really make sure that you attack these limiting beliefs and destroy them so that you can make sure that you are following through on the road that you want to take to get to the goals that you want to achieve. It will make the path it will make it a lot smoother. It'll make it a lot easier for you to flow through things. And if you do hit a wall or a roadblock, it's also an easier way to be able to find the solution to get around it. So, how do we do this, right? What do we do? What's the first step? Now that you know what a limiting belief is, what is the first step? Well, now you want to figure out what yours are. You want to take some time. There's a magnitude of different ways that you can do this, and I've tried a lot of them. So, I'm going to talk about a few of the ones that I personally like. Journaling. Number one, first and foremost, you can ask any of my friends if you know them. You can talk to anybody. I am such an advocate for journaling because it gives you a safe space. It gives you a place that you can put all of your information and all of your thoughts so that you can get them out of your head and onto a piece of paper, and they can't sit there and just eat away at you anymore. Keeping track of what you are thinking daily is a great way to follow the path of what your thought process arc is. Because at different times of the day, different times of the week, different times of the month, we can all have a different thought process. I know for me personally, once I'm getting towards, the PMS portion of my cycle, my thoughts tend to go very negative. And I can look at myself in these time frames and realize, okay, this is not real. This is just a hormonal response to a situation. We're gonna get through it. So that's one example. And one of the journaling techniques that I like to use is the Artist Way's morning pages. So if you don't know what the Artist Way is, it is this process created by a writer, an artist, an author, and she felt like really stuck and didn't know how she was going to overcome this roadblock. She felt like she wasn't making progress, and so she created this process for herself. And one of the parts is morning pages. So you take every single day and you write a minimum of 3 pages of whatever you have going on in your mind. And I was actually surprised because a lot of the days when I would have some of my breakthroughs when I was confronting my limiting beliefs were the days where I didn't really have anything to say, because one of the rules, for lack of a better term, is even if you don't have anything to say, you still write 3 pages of I don't know what to say, or I don't have anything to say, something along the lines of that, until you're through, just to build up the habit. But sometimes I would start writing, I don't have anything to say, and then midway through the first page, something would pop into my mind, and I'd start writing about it. And then I would look at that, and this is the second part. This is the next step. Once you have the awareness of what's happening in your mind, you actually start to question it. You question those beliefs. You look at what the statement says, and you ask yourself, okay, is this real? Or is this an assumption? Is this the truth? And if so, where is the data to back it up? Once you start asking yourself this, it makes your brain do exactly what its job is. Because once you make a statement or have a thought, your brain immediately starts to look for the facts to support that statement. So, you're writing down a statement, I'm not smart enough. Your brain then goes, okay, where can we prove that we're not smart enough? You make a silly mistake. Let's just say, one for me. I had a carton of milk with the spout, the cap on the spout, instead of having to open it on the side, on its side in the fridge. And I decided to open it while it was laying down. Obviously, there was a spill, there was a mess. And I kept saying to myself, well, that was just ridiculous. That was a very silly thing to do. And I was like, that was not a smart thing to do. And I had to stop myself and remember that every time your brain hears something like that, every time your brain hears a statement, it doesn't realize if you're making a joke, if you're just saying it as a toss away. It is instantly going to go to work to find the facts to support the statement. So that's why you want to make sure, and this is number 3, that you are talking to yourself in a positive and supportive way. Now, this is one of the most important things that I will share with you in this video. The way you talk to yourself not only tells your brain what to search for support for, but it also teaches other people how to talk to you. So if you are saying, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid, I'm so fat, I'm so this, I'm so that, and it's anything other than the person you want to be, you are telling everyone around you, okay, that's who she is. That's who they are. That's who this person, that's how they think of themselves. It's how I should think of them too. If you start to become more and more aware of how you are talking to yourself and start changing the script from I'm so dumb to I am really smart. I'm really great at figuring out ways to fix these problems and I'm great at finding solutions. Then you are absolutely going to find the facts to support that. You're going to start to see that more and more in your everyday life. And that will bring us to another topic, but we're going to stick here for just a second. If you would never allow someone to say that about your best friend, why are you saying it about yourself? Ask yourself that the next time you find yourself making a negative statement about yourself. Ask, would I allow someone to say this to my best friend's face? And if the answer is no, why are you saying it to yourself? Something to think about. Now, as I mentioned before, some of these issues, some of these limiting beliefs can come from past experiences that you've had. If you find yourself making the statement and then noticing what the thought is and questioning, is this true or not? Maybe go one step further, and this is a great time to get out your journal. If you have the opportunity. If not, make a note in your phone and come back to it. But it's a great time to be like, okay, where did this thought come from? Can I remember what happened that caused me to have this thought or feeling? As I said, for me, I got very shy and started to feel like very not smart because of that incident that I had in my class. And it does, or it has, I'm still working on it. It does sometimes stop me from being able to voice my opinions because I'm afraid other people will think that they are not the smartest of option. And that fear of being made fun of is always there. Childhood confrontations, even young adult confrontations, depending on where you are in your life, can dictate where the limiting belief could have evolved from, right? Because the older you are, the more life you've lived, the more chances you've had to run into other people who could color your world in a way that you don't appreciate. So taking a look at past experiences and seeing where in their limiting beliefs could have cropped up and happened is one option. Noticing your patterns of behavior, how you act in certain situations, and where those behaviors came from. All of those things work together. Like I said, self-sabotage often comes from a limiting belief that turns into an action that stops you from being able to grow into the person that you want to be or to achieve the goal that you're working on. So self-awareness is going to be the biggest key here. You need to take time, and I would say what I started to do when I really wanted to break down these thought patterns, because I was just so tired of being my biggest enemy instead of being my biggest supporter, that I did exactly this. I started asking myself, okay, well, where's the truth? Where's the truth to support this? And then how did this belief even come to be? Where did this come from? And then, okay, so how are my actions, my daily actions, supporting this belief? How am I keeping this belief in my life with my own actions? And then meditate, mindfulness. sitting in the silence with the thoughts, releasing them, letting them go. Because at one point, yes, the thoughts that you were having were there to keep you safe. They were keeping you safe from what you perceived as a fear. For me, it was being kept safe from being seen as dumb by my classmates and being exiled and left alone and on my own. So that thought kept me safe at that time, even if it's not true. And from there, my actions that I built around that kept me safe, kept me in a safe lane that I felt like I would not be ridiculed in, that I could just pass through life and it would be fine. And until I got to the point where I realized that that was dumb, that I didn't want that, that I wanted to live a loud, boisterous, sometimes wrong, sometimes goofy life. And so I had to go and look at all of those actions. And sitting with the thoughts, meditating with them, being mindful of how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others, and the path that you put yourself on, and how you show up for yourself. Those are all really important things. Now, with meditation, the way that I like to do it is to do best life visualizations, where you basically walk through the absolute best day of your idealized life. So the way I like to do it is I literally visualize myself waking up. What does my home look like? What does it smell like? What's happening outside of my windows? What is the first thing I'm doing in my day? Am I getting a cup of coffee, which is basically how I start my day every day? What does my mug look like? What kind of coffee is it? What is my coffee maker? And I walk through my day in my mind, and I go step by step to see, how having a free-flowing, uninhibited, positive mindset has helped me get all of the things that I'm looking to add to my life. And by utilizing that, it helps me to see, okay, well, this version of myself does not believe that they're not smart enough. They know that they are smart enough. They know that they are capable. They know that they're able to conquer the tasks that are put in front of them. And the more that you start to see yourself as that person, again, the more that it will become your reality, because your brain will look for the facts to support it. And that will help you stay out of that limiting mindset and into a growth mindset, which is the next thing that I want to talk about. How do we shift, right? How do we shift ourselves? Now we know what our limiting beliefs are. We know where they came from, or we're learning where they came from. We're better at noticing them, and we're starting to talk to ourselves a little bit nicer. So what are some of the things that we can do, to get ourselves out of this limiting mindset and into a growth mindset? Well, we can do some reframing, and this task can be a lot to handle, but it is one of the biggest things that has helped me. Every single thought that you have in your mind, all of these negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, all of them, write them all down on a list. And the way I like to do it is to have columns. Column A is the negative belief, and column B is how you're going to reframe it. So if you have a limiting belief that is, I'm not qualified for the management position at my job, you can reframe that and say something like, I am qualified for the management position at my job because I am a great leader, I am task-oriented, I am well organized, and I know how to guide and delegate to my team in a way that makes them feel supported. That is a way to reframe it. If you say, I'm not thin enough, you can reframe that to, my body is perfect exactly how it is. If there's something like, I don't have the ability to be an entrepreneur because I don't know where to start, you can reframe that and say, I can be an entrepreneur and I will find the right people to help me learn where to begin. As simple as that. You just want to take it and flip it around. You want to reframe it so that it's like the positive side of the coin. So it's like two sides of the coin. The negative side is the one that keeps landing face up right now, and you want to flip it so that you have the positive side that is coming up more often. And if you can catch yourself in the moment, like if you have a negative belief or a limiting belief that comes up, and you can catch yourself in the moment and flip it around, that is going to do so much for you and how you process, and it's going to make this make this whole thing move a lot faster, because if you can do it in real time, that means that you are moving beautifully along your journey. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about is affirmations. You can change your mental state or your mental track, your inner monologue, by rewriting the script, right? So when you do the reframing exercise where you write down in one column all of the negative things that your mind is thinking and you reframe it into something that's positive, those become your daily affirmations that you can use. And even if you just pick one and say that one for the day, that is going to help you so much. Because then when your brain goes on autopilot, it won't go to all the negative thoughts. It will start to go to all the positive thoughts. And that is another one of my favorite tools, is using positive affirmations. So instead of thinking, I'm not qualified for this position, you can instead flip that and say, I am qualified for this position because, and fill in the blanks. Or if you are saying, I'm not smart, you can say, I am very smart and intelligent, and here's why. You can also keep them short and sweet and just, I am amazing. I am awesome. I am living every day as my highest and best self. All of these things, just speak this life, speak this positivity into yourself so that you can start changing the landscape of your thoughts in your mind. Because once you change your thoughts, everything else starts to become a lot easier. But the thing is, I want to make sure that you are giving it the time that it needs. This will not happen overnight. This is something that is going to take time, because it did not take you 2 days to get this limiting belief. It took you years to get to this point. So it's going to take some time to undo it, to create new neural pathways in your brain, and to get you new thought processes for when you go on autopilot, because we all do it. We all go on autopilot at some point in our day, and your brain is going to create pathways to get to the quickest possible part, or your brain is going to create these pathways, and you need to make sure that you are sticking to it. Stick with your journaling, stick with your daily affirmations, stick with your questioning of the thoughts for at least a month. You want to do it for at least a month so that you can actually start seeing the changes. So in this video, we have talked a lot about limiting beliefs, and now I want to touch on core values, or personal values. So personal values are the core principles, beliefs, and ethical standards that guide an individual's decisions, actions, and behaviors in life. These values represent what is most important to a person and serve as a foundation for their moral and ethical compass. Personal values can be deeply ingrained and are often shaped by a combination of factors, including upbringing, culture, religion, personal experiences, and social influences. So that's a big chunk about what a core value is, what a personal value is. And like, it's like that little snippet said, it can come from a lot of different places. A lot of it is part of how you are raised and or your rebellion from how you were raised, who you turn into, your social circle, and the people that you spend a lot of your time with, your significant other, your best friend, your coworkers, things like that. Those all shape kind of who you are and what your personal values are. So for me, one of my personal values is authenticity. And I got to this because I felt like I was living such an inauthentic life. I, stopped after years of, working in an industry that I did not like and getting out of a relationship that was very toxic. I just like stopped one day and realized this is not who I want to be. This is not what I want out of my life. Like, I don't have real friends. I just have like people pleaser people around me, and I'm being a people pleaser. And so I like realized one day that I just want to be the most authentic version of myself. So authenticity became one of my core values. And that's not just something I expect from myself. It's something I want from the people around me, because you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So what is in them rubs off on you, even if unintentionally. So authenticity is one of my values. Passion is one of my values, because I found myself in survival mode for years, because I was living in New York City trying to be the main supporter of a family of 4 and struggling every single day to make it through. So I was shut down. I lost my passion for life. I lost my flavor for life. I lost like the drive to do, and that's just the very opposite of who I've ever been. I love just going for it. I love to do things. I don't like to sit and talk about it. I love to just like learn as I go and jump in. So passion is one that's really important for me. And other examples are adventure and service. A lot of people may hate doing service-based jobs or activities, and then there are other people who just really love, like that's how they show love, is acts of service. They love to give their time and help support others so that they can just feel fulfilled. Then honesty, trust, truthfulness, like things like that. These are all core values that you can have for yourself. And it's really easy to kind of nail down what yours are by looking at the moments in your life that have had a lot of impact. Like for me, as I mentioned, getting to the end of a toxic relationship, finding myself in a job that I did not like or want to be a part of anymore, and wanting to find my true self again after having lost myself for so long. That is what brought me to authenticity. And it can also be like the things that an activity that you do, and when you're done you feel full. And I don't know how long it took me to actually feel that feeling. It wasn't until I got into life coaching that I actually feel like I felt that for myself. After working with one of my first clients and watching them achieve what they were like had been struggling with for so long, it gave me this sense of fullness that I don't think I'd ever felt before in my entire life. So the moments in your life where you've walked away feeling really full, if you can like narrow down what it was in that space. Was it while you were helping, donating your time at a shelter or in a volunteer position? Was it you, giving advice to someone to help them get from, a darker space that they were in into a lighter space? Was it because you had finally met someone in your life that you knew for a fact they were being completely honest and open with you, and you didn't have to live in a space of fear? Are they lying to me? Are they being shady? Things like that. Is it like from a teaching experience? Is it from just hanging out with your friends, having the biggest laugh because humor is one of your, personal values? All of these different things, all of these moments where you can feel full, those are the moments that are going to help you narrow down what your actual core values are. Now, once you have figured out what your core values are, that's when you have to find where in your day-to-day life are you out of alignment with those core values? Where, if your core value is honesty, are you being dishonest? Not even with others, but with yourself. You have to start with you. Before you can help anyone else or go do anything for anyone else, you have to start with you. Where are you being dishonest with yourself? Where are you killing your own passion? Where are you being inauthentic? Like, where are those moments? Like, have you specifically, sorry, I just had this thought. This happens a lot when we're teenagers, right? We want to be a part of the crowd. We don't want to be exiled. So we start to like the things that other people like so that we can be included. This can carry on all through adulthood until you take the time to actually stop and be like, okay, wait, this doesn't feel right to me. I never feel good after this. So I want to stop doing that, and I want to figure out what makes me feel good. Go towards what makes you feel good, because those are going to be the things that bring you your core values. So acknowledging the spaces where you are out of alignment and removing those things means that you'll have more space in your life for the joy. If you fill yourself up with more of the things that make you feel great, helping people, donating your time, spending time with people who make you laugh, watching comedy shows, going to see comedy shows, finding new trails to go and hike on, chasing after adventure, all of these things will help you bring more joy into your life, bring more positivity into your life. Your brain will be able to start finding the higher vibrational thought patterns with much more ease, and that will help remove those limiting beliefs. So once your thoughts and your actions are aligned, things just go so much smoother. It's like when an airplane is taking flight, if there's something that's kind of sticking off to the side, it's going to really mess up the airflow that keeps the plane lifted. So removing all of those excess things really helps to streamline your process and helps you move through life with significant ease. All right, guys, that was quite a bit of information. I really hope that you had something to take away from this. Remember, the way you want to start is self-awareness. So taking note of what your thoughts are when you're just going through your everyday. Take note of them, write them down. Keep a little journal with you. Keep a notes app open on your phone. Keep a little sticky note open on your computer. And every time you have one of those thoughts come into your brain, make a note of it so that you can be aware. And then try and find a practice that can help you work through it. Are you going to start a journal? Do you want to journal about this? Do you want to visualize and do meditations with it? So we have talked about all of these things, and I really hope that you got some great takeaways from this video. Remember, become aware of the thoughts that are happening in your mind. Start to question the validity of those thoughts. Start to wonder where they came from, and then journal about it, meditate on it. Use your positive affirmations after you make your list of column A and column B. Make your positive affirmations. Say them to yourself in the mirror every single day, even if you just pick one. Say it to yourself in the mirror. These are all ways that you're going to be able to start changing the landscape of your mind. And then finding your personal values, your personal core values, and aligning yourself with those beliefs. Align yourself with the beliefs that are getting you to the best possible version of yourself, and continue to have, the exploration of finding what your values are and how you can better align with them, and you are just going to see the quality of your life just skyrocket, honestly. Thank you again for coming and hanging out with me. I know that was a lot of information, but I'm glad that we stuck with it, and I know that you have found something that you can utilize in your everyday life. I want to hear from you all in the comments. Leave your questions down there, but most importantly, what is a limiting belief that you have realized, and how are you reframing that for yourself? I want to hear from you. I will also leave some of mine down there, and if you are unsure of how to reframe it for yourself, ask us. Let's utilize this community. We'll get in those comments and we'll help each other out. I cannot wait to see you next week. Don't forget to give this video a like if you found any value in it, and please feel free to share with anyone that you think might be able to grow from what I've shared with you today. Once again, I can't wait to see you next week. Don't forget, I'm Jen, your transformational life coach, and I am so excited for all of us finally stepping out and living our best and most